Hi, I'm here with James Van Royen. Now, he's the founder and director of Bicycles Online. James, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So you went from bicycle tours to bicycle retailing online. Why the move?
Well, we had a bicycle tour business, and every year we would replace the fleet of bikes, and it just made us aware of just how expensive bikes were in Australia.
Sure.
So looking at that, we found out how fragmented the distribution channel was getting bikes into the Australian market. And we realised that there was an opportunity there that if we were able to make that more efficient, to streamline that distribution channel, there would be a big opportunity to sell online.
Right, and you did that and you researched and found a manufacturer overseas?
That's it, exactly. So we found that there was 360 brands in Australia, but only 6 manufacturers.
Right.
So we realised that, if we could go direct to the factory and source direct, and then by using our website sell online, this would be the most efficient way to bring bikes into the country.
Great. And how did you test that? How did you know there was demand?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our first container we bought, we thought, look, we'd give it a go. It was an unknown brand at the time. But what we decided is that if it didn't work out, we could always put those bikes back into the hire fleet.
Sure.
So we always had a bit of a fallback if we needed to.
And how many were in that first container?
150 bikes.
Okay, so a lot of space.
Well, we ended up selling it within about the first month, so we knew it was going to be a pretty good market.
And how easy was it to set up an online store?
Look, I think setting up an online store itself is fairly easy, but there's a lot of things around it that make it perhaps a bit more challenging. You realise as soon as you're online, you're in a very competitive marketplace. So you need to have a very competitive offering. So it's not simply just about the store, which I think in some ways can be fairly easy to set up.
Yeah.
But it's around those other sort of things like logistics and suppliers that really make things more challenging.
Sure. And because it is so competitive,
yes,
how do you stand out? I know you guys do videos and things like that.
Yeah, I think you have to really look at what your customer is looking for. Ultimately in any business, and online's no different, the customer will tell you what they want.
Yeah.
And they want that point of difference. And you can offer that point of difference through not only your product, but through your services as well, whether it's free shipping, whether it's free returns. It's those sort of things that really set you out from the crowd.
Sure. And you guys have a showroom
Yes.
And a warehouse in Manly.
Yes.
Do you have any plans to turn that into a bricks and mortar space?
Yeah, we do sell out of our store, out of our showroom in Manly.
Yeah.
Would we go on to set up other stores in other parts of the country? Ultimately, yes.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's still a lot of lower hanging fruit in the online space, and I think that's probably a better way for us to go in the short to medium term.
Sure. You mentioned that one of your challenges was distributing.
Yes.
What have some of your other major challenges been?
Yeah, certainly selling bikes online hasn't been something that the Australian market's been very familiar with. So whilst we were able to set up an online store, what we found very quickly is that a lot of people were a bit risk averse to buying online. They hadn't done it before. So what we realised is we really had to remove a lot of that risk that people saw in buying a bike online. And it actually turns out that in many ways it's easier to buy a bike online than it is to buy it out of a store. When you're buying a bike online, you get things like customer reviews, you get specifications, magazine reviews, sizing guides, all things that you don't typically get out of a regular store purchase.
Right. And how important are those features like reviews and videos that you do?
They're core. I would say along with that sort of online offering, the other thing that we do is we offer a free 14-day test ride. So if you purchase a bike you don't like for whatever reason, we'll pick it up from you free of charge. Right. And again, that just allows us to share that risk with the customer.
Sure. Do you have any statistics or figures on growth or turnover that you can share?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Within our first year, we sort of did 7 times what our supplier was expecting us to do.
Right.
This year we'll comfortably turn over $5 million and sell about 10,000 bikes.
Sure. Okay. And biggest lessons that you've learned in your journey?
Perhaps the biggest lesson that we've learned is that in small business, you're presented with so many opportunities. I think it's important to ignore a lot of them and focus on those ones that you can do well and do them as best you can.
Fantastic. Great tips there. Thanks, James.
Thank you very much.